Hey,
Hey, can you
how
hear?
are you? Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Yes, ma'am. How are we doing?
I'm fantastic. You look beautiful.
You look beautiful as well. I had to come correct for you.
Well,
I'm not interviewed by Nori. Nori, I gotta come right.
well, thank you. I am humbled for sure, but
Yes,
I'm excited to be in your presence. Your makeup is fabulous. Your braids are fabulous.
thank you.
You're glowing. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling the glow. I think it's one thing, for people to sense that from you, but when you actually feel it, it's definitely like sometimes it can be overwhelming, but it's
Mhm.
very humbling. And I'm just in a really, really, really good space.
You
Definitely.
look like it. You know, they say you shine from the inside out. So I believe everything about what you're saying because it's very visible, it's very evident. So I'm excited to talk to you. How was your birthday?
Oh my gosh, my birthday was amazing. I have a friend, right? And I met her last year actually on a plane. And we
Okay.
met, clicked, and we ended up talking like the whole plane ride. And then we just were like, we're gonna just be great friends. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
But she was just talking about how she travels and she does these solo trips and da 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 da. And I was just like, wow. Like I've always wanted to do a solo trip, but I think like most of us, you're kind of like in your own head,
Apprehensive.
you're nervous. You're like, the what ifs. And then this year, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to have my first solo trip, and I went to Palm Springs. I wanted relaxation. I wanted just a getaway, and that's exactly what it was. It was absolutely amazing. I advise everyone, if you can, to at least get one solo trip in for yourself, at least once.
You know, I'm thinking the same thing. It's been on my heart to do a solo trip. So I feel like this conversation is confirmation to go ahead and book the flight.
You just have to book. You just have to go. You have to go, and honestly, you'll come back refreshed. You'll come back relaxed. And it's a
Mhm.
sense of independence. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? It's an opportunity to get back to you, and I feel like that's definitely necessary. All about your self care, self love, all that great stuff. So do it, girl. Do it.
I love it. Okay, okay. Enough about me. Enough about me. Um, tell me about your chosen name, Nia
Mm-hmm.
Dinero. Um, I feel like a lot of times our name speaks so many volumes about
Mm-hmm.
who we are, how we want to represent ourselves. Is this a part of your government name? Talk to
Mm-hmm.
me about how you chose your name to be an artist.
So I actually received my name when I was in college. So I was an on-air personality my freshman, sophomore year in college at Norfolk State, HBCU.
Come
And yeah, and so within that process, we had to go through our training classes.
on. Mm-hmm.
Our last class, I guess you could say like the upperclassmen or the on-air personalities that were already like the vets, they had to choose our name. And so, like I said, I was coming in like a freshman, sophomore, and so they were all just picking up on my vibe. They were like, "Man, you're so cool, but you're young, but you're cool, but you're
Mm-hmm.
mature." And they
Mm-hmm.
were like almost like the genre neo soul. So at first it was like neo soul, and then this girl came in and was like, nah, let's call her Nia, like Nia Soul, Nia Soul. So that was my name at first, Nia Soul. I went by that, and then fast forward, I ended up getting into a group, a duo, a male female duo, and he went by Dreams. And I was like, you know what? I want Nia Dinero, or I want Nia Soul. I want to transform her into like a superwoman with a first and a last name. And so we were just coming up with all these names, and then someone said like, what do you think of when you think of success? And I was like, money. And we started coming up with all these names, and then Dinero just stuck. Now I will say, like, when I was younger, like earlier in my career, my concept on just the whole idea of Dinero was like I said, the younger part of me is like money.
Mm-hmm.
Now where I am now, it's just all about knowing your worth. So, knowing your worth, knowing who you are, being confident, like that's the whole notion behind Dinero. Nia is more of like that softer, that other side, you know what I mean? The
Yeah.
side that's just kind of like, right now you're talking to Nia. But when we
Okay.
need to turn up, when we need to perform, that's Dinero. So together we are here Dinero.
I love that. And we're gonna talk about the layers of Nia Dinero because there are definitely layers, especially with your visual projects,
Yes.
just for now. I love, love, love that I felt like you were telling a story.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about poetry with you. I feel like this not your first go at it. It's really a part of how you present your feelings and emotions a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me about why it was important to incorporate some spoken word into your visual project.
Well, you're picking up on all the great things. Okay. So the crazy thing is before music, I was just writing poetry. I journal. That's something that I do daily. And before music, I didn't even think of the music aspect of it. I was just always just writing, just writing my feelings. And the biggest thing for me, especially as an artist, one of the things I love is storytelling, is telling a story. And so I honestly, when it came down to this project, the idea of having narration in a theme and a concept, like that's my happy place. That like those three things is just, it wasn't even like a thought process on how to do it. It was like, this has to be done. Like there has to be narration. There has to be something that drives, like people have to understand the why, you know what I mean? And be able to dive into the visual, you know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
It does. No,
yeah.
It does. I saw how your visual project Just For Now opened up, and I thought to myself, isn't this the story of so many women feeling like you have to choose, and telling the person that you are with and interested in, like, listen, we can have it all. This can be our entire world. But then that person being a bit of self-centered, narcissistic, focused on them, and like, this what I got, I mean what we got. Like when I was listening and watching, I thought to myself, gosh, what a way to connect with people. Because this is happening all the time, and it's so frustrating. Something that you brought up that I thought was really powerful is intention in life. So talk to me about what intention means for you in music.
Intent or intentions with me in music, I think it's vital, especially now, especially just where we are right now. I think that it's just very important to be very specific and very direct in what you want your audience to get from you, especially as a female artist. Now, my thing is trying to expand the narrative, you know what I mean? Not taking away from this artist, that artist, but trying to say, like, look, there's so many different types of artists, women, Black, like there's so, you know what I mean? Like, let's spread this thing out and show just different dynamics and layers and size. So for me, intent, I'm an intentional person. Like, I'm an intentional person, even if I'm texting you, if I'm hitting you up, like, I'm not going to hit you up if just to hit you up, unless it's saying, hey, good morning. I'm like, I want to say good morning to this person. So I feel like, just moving with intent is just very important, because it helps you to stay on track for the most part. Like, things happen, you'll can fall off track, but at the same time, I think if you move in with intent, you just are able to stay a little more focused than you would if you were just kind of walking aimlessly. You know what I'm saying?
Were you able to be more intentional and focus more during the pandemic? Because in your music, obviously, it comes out like, this is a pandemic. We're dealing with a different level of life, dealing with the unknown. So how was the pandemic for you as an artist?
So as an artist, in the very beginning, like many creatives, I really didn't know where I stood. I didn't know if I was selfish to even think about music, put out music, and especially in the very beginning of the pandemic, when so much was going on and so many people were struggling. And then in my mind, I was just like, I'm not putting out no album or talking about music when people are losing their homes and this and that, you know what I mean? And it wasn't until I saw a meme or something like that. And I think at that point, we were all just kind of questioning our purpose and just kind of questioning, like, what do we do in this moment? Like, what's our gift? What are we supposed to do? And in that meme, it says something like, your gift, whether you're an artist, whether you're a chef, it doesn't matter. That is what you put out into the world. That's it. Don't overthink it. That's it. So then that pushed me to say, you know what? Music is just one of my ways of pouring back into people and helping and doing what I need to do. And so that encouraged me to get into the studio. Once again, I was intentional. I had this concept in my head, reached out to an engineer, And I didn't really know exactly how I wanted Just For Now to go, but I had this idea. I was like, okay, I want 3 songs. I want this, I want this, I want this. And things just worked out. I drove down to Virginia Beach, got into the studio, we locked in, and then that was that. But ultimately, I know the pandemic definitely just kind of honed in on just gratitude, and just that, you know what, like it can be a lot worse. So while you have it, go and get it and take advantage of it.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. It's funny because I often refer to like the Bible when it says gratitude is shortly lived. So you have to be grateful and thankful, because very easily do we forget where we come from. Very easily do we forget once we've got over a hump, how hard it was to get over that hump to begin with. You've been doing music for a very long time. And not a very long time as in like, dang, Nia, you're doing music a long time. But you have been putting in the work. And so when you put in the work and you continue to put out, your music is really good. It's quality, the production. Like I had a chance to sit down and I had a chance to sit with your music and your voice, right? So you are such a beautiful talent, because I was listening to you sing and rap, and then I heard the poetry, and then I thought to myself, wow, she is well-rounded. Like, you know, like, sis is out here working, and the lyric ability that you have, I was like, I'm really picking up what you putting down. And so I am grateful for artists like you. I want you to be encouraged and to keep putting out your music in these projects, because it is absolutely needed. You hit on this a little bit, and I kind of want to go back to this, putting together this visual project. Was it a collaborative effort? Was it, because I love the conversation between you and the guy in the video. I don't know if that's your man's for real or not, but I was like, it's okay, some chemistry there. It was that. It was, you know, just this framework. It was a plot. It was an ending. It was comedy. Like, it was, you know, very well thought through. The dialogue was really great as well. So talk to me about what made you decide, I guess this is like layered. What made you decide to do a visual project of this magnitude? But the beginning of the question is the creative process for you and deciding how you wanted this to flow and be interwoven with the songs.
So, so I was in the process of figuring out what was going to be my next big move. Like, was I going to put an album? Was I just going to put out some videos? And so my manager at the time, he was my manager at the time, he was just like, well, why don't you have you ever thought of doing, because I hear this all the time, have you ever thought of doing like mini movie, or have you ever thought of doing because acting is something, you know, people look at me, my personality, they're like, have you thought of act, you know, all that stuff. And so so then I was like, you know what, like I should just do a visual album. And so that's how I started. First, it was like, okay, have you ever thought of doing a movie? Then it was like, okay, I'm gonna do a visual album. So then I had already had the videographer in mind. The videographer, I knew I wanted to work with a woman. And so we went to the same college, yada, yada, yada. We had done some stuff together, but I knew that I was coming to her with, okay, we're about to do this visual album. It's kind of like a mini movie. Have you ever done it? How do you feel? And believe it or not, she was like, look, I've never done it, but I'm ready. Like, I want to get it. And, you know, the crazy thing is, every time I told people what I'm working on a visual album, the first artist they would think of is Beyonce. Oh, like Lemonade? Like Beyonce.
This laid the foundation for some good content.
You know? So every time I told people, and they kept saying, Beyonce Lemonade, Beyonce Lemonade, a part of me was getting nervous, like, they're putting me on it's like, yeah, but I'm not, okay. But then it also encouraged me, because it was like, okay, this thing has to be dope, because that only showed me that not a lot of people are doing visual albums. Like, if the only thinking of is Beyonce Lemonade, then I got to make sure this is on the level that I'm on right now, has to be dope. And so we got together. I had the concept together, her and I. We did the treatment. We had meetings, like timestamps, everything. I did the casting. I put out casting calls. I put together the character profiles, wrote it all out, sent it out to people, all that. And we just shot it. Like, the biggest thing, honestly, was just, I think the hardest part was just us wrapping our minds around the fact that we were going to shoot a mini movie, because that's pretty much what it is. It's a mini. And when I tell you, the craziest part was the editing process. And the dope thing about this situation was she allowed me to sit in on the whole editing process. A lot of creatives, especially videographers, do not want other people just sitting with them, hovering over them in the editing process. So I literally was driving back and forth to Baltimore, sitting with her to pick out every shot, to pick out every angle. I know her and I had our little back and forth, because I was like, look, no, that ain't my good side. Like, no, that, you know.
No, yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing. When it was done, Nori, I felt like I really did that. Like, I really put together a freaking mini movie. Like, I was kind of like,
you did. It is so good.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the process. That was the process. And no, I'm not dating the guys in the video, but the chemistry was great.
It looked good. Because, it's funny because, oftentimes, right, when you go to cast somebody, you want to make sure it's somebody that can compliment you. And you did that very, very well. Even from when you was talking to your homegirl, why I felt some type of way when I'm watching, and she was like, I want to introduce you to somebody. I'm like, dang! Like, she was just supposed to get on the plane yesterday. What is we doing?
So, it was look, a lot of that, even like from the casting, it just all kind of fell into place. So I met her through a college friend. He had a little kickback at his house. Her and I met and we connected.
Yeah.
And the ex at the diner, I met him when I lived in Atlanta, and I really just called him and was like, look, I need someone to play this role. He flew from Atlanta to come out here to shoot.
That's love.
That in itself was just like, what? Like, you're really going to come? Like, yeah, I'm going to come. And then the gentleman at the very end, I was connected with this young lady, and I was like, look, I need someone to play this role. And she's like, oh, hold on, I have someone right now. He called him, and he was free, and it just worked. And then him and I, we actually met before we shot. We met for like lunch, so we could just kind of get used to each other and vibe. And I think that also helped with what you guys saw as well. So we were really shooting a movie out there.
Yes, it was great. So where was this actually shot?
Literally all in DMV. We shot some scenes down in Manassas, some scenes, what is it, like Indian Trail, in Maryland. The house scenes, like the house party scenes, we actually rented out a pier space in DC. We got a pier space, and it just, yeah. So that's honestly, in that house scene, we shot 5 videos in that house in 5 hours. We shot 5 videos in 5 hours. So the birthday video, meditate, big mood for me, we shot all those in 5 hours.
What? That is a lot of work in 5 hours. And again, the quality, the production. You have a track with Mike Will. Tell me how working with him came about in that collaboration, because he's a big producer, and I was like, come on, Nia.
He's big. So once again, my manager at the time, he went to school with him. He went to Full Sail with him. And once again, we were going through tracks. I was like, look, I need something dope. And he was like, all right, pulled a couple strings, set me over the track. He sent it over to him. He greenlit it. It was like, it's a go, pretty much.
Yo, I heard the Mike Will made it tag. I was like, word? Okay. Like, there were so many times I was like, ow, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. Like, it was
something like that. You got to kill it for a track like that. And so Meditate, honestly, even the process with Meditate was just like, that hook came, what was the part? Heated like yoga, my body Pilates. That came in like 2 seconds. That was actually the first piece that I wrote for the whole entire song.
Yo,
and then everything kind of built around that.
The wordplay is very, very good. So, you know, being that you love music and you have this wonderful, it feels very playful relationship with music. Who inspired you? Who motivates you? Because I feel like it's always somebody that you like. Yes.
Well, see, honestly, like growing up, of course, like most people, like I love like Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson, and I would literally sit and just watch their concerts. I love live music, so I would look and study how they handle themselves on stage and this and that. So like Michael and Janet, and then now like I love her. Like I love what her is doing. She's like one of my absolute favorites. I love what she does with music. I love how she carries herself. And honestly, I just love the whole new wave right now. Like I just love, I'm hoping that we just get back into that space to where it's kind of like ladies' night, where you can have the dopest female artists all on one track killing it. Hopefully Nia Dinero can be that artist to have one of those dope tracks to where I have like all the hottest artists on one track and we all just body it.
I love that. I would love to see that happen. Yeah, I definitely know that it can happen.
Definitely.
It definitely can happen. It's gonna take some coordination though. You gotta coordinate to get that popping. I think another question I wanted to talk to you is there's a very earthy mood to your visual project. Was that by design?
Yes, I'll say that. Well, I'll say this. Honestly, the visual album was a depiction of me. Honestly, it was me. Like those relationships were I was just picking at experiences that I went through.
Yeah.
The songs, that's one of the luxuries of what happens when you write your own music or when you collaborate and you're able to sit and write your own music. It's like you can cater. It's you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That match which you wrote, but it's people can feel it because it's you. And so naturally I am a very like, I meditate, I pray, I drink my, I have my ginger and lemon and lime, but when I want to turn up, I can turn up. Like everything that you felt was that's me. That's who I am. So I guess you can say yeah, because it was just an embodiment of who I am and what I represent and what I want to pour out to people.
What do you want people to know right now in this moment who have not watched the visual album yet, who are joining this live and they're like, I gotta go see what sis is up to. Let me go to visit her page. Let me, check out this visual album. What do you want people? Because you picked 3 songs, right? So Birthday, Meditate. What was the third one?
You want to know all the songs in the visual?
Yeah. Was it Birthday?
It's for fun.
Okay.
Meditate, For Me, Birthday, Big Mood, and For Now.
Listen.
For Now.
Everything made perfect sense. So it did, because you've lived a little bit, you got some life experiences popping off. You be like, yeah. Oh, I've been there. Oh yeah, that's me. Oh, that was me last year. Yeah. You find your moments in time that capture you. So for the person that has never been familiar with your music, your body of work, what does experiencing Nia Dinero for the first time, what is that experience like?
That's a good question. I would say the experience is a breath of fresh air. I would say that it's very clear. It's a lot of clarity. It just flows. like when people ask me like, how would you describe yourself, your music? I would say it's like a wave. It's cool. It flows. It changes, but it's cool. You know what I mean? So that's, I think when you listen to my music, I think when you see the visual, I think when you hear me, that's what you're going to get. You're just going to get a vibe. It's just going to flow. It's going to be clear. It's going to be cool. And it's just, yeah, it's going to be peaceful.
I love that. I love that. I want to make sure that I've covered everything. What would you say to the woman that feels like she has to mute herself when it comes to her dreams and her goals and her aspirations? I feel like you touch on that in your visual project. Just for you, I feel that is a theme of being able to put yourself first. So talk to me about why it's important for us as women to be determined, to not be deterred, because a fine man with a little income, little situation will derail you real quick.
Yeah. It's very important. I think it's very important as women, once again, especially in the now, to know who we are before anyone comes and tells us who we are. And I think that's not just for women, but just for everyone, men and women.
Absolutely.
You know, I think the biggest thing right now is wholeness. That's one thing that I'm about right now, is just wholeness. Not being perfect, because we're not perfect.
Right.
Being whole. I think the crazy thing now is that, so I'm letting you know, because you'll be talking to Nori. So I am single, right?
Go ahead, put that out there so that, you know what I'm saying, some goodness can come your way.
Right? So here's the funny, I'm single. And, the funny reaction I get from that is when I tell people, when someone asks me, are you single? Are you in a relationship? And I say, yeah, I'm single, but I'm enjoying my season of singleness. When I say that, they almost look at me like, what?
What that mean?
What does that mean? Like, why are you enjoying it? And so my thing is, just because I say that I'm enjoying my season of singleness doesn't mean I'm out there, doesn't mean I'm just all over the place. It means that I'm learning and I'm enjoying how to embrace the queen in me, like who I am.
Fix that crown.
And I say that because there was this time where I didn't know how to do that. You understand what I'm saying? And so, like you're a successful, driven woman. Just because we're successful and we're driven doesn't mean that we don't desire to have a strong man. And I think
that's talk that talk.
I think that's the misconception, that people think because we move a certain way, we are ambitious, we're driven, we're this, then we don't want anybody, and that's not the case.
Correct.
It's just whoever that person is has to be very specific. It's very not, I want to say specific. They have to be, it takes a certain type of man to be with certain type of women like that. I'll say that. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
So that's, so I just, I'm in this space to where let's get out of this idea that being single is a bad thing, but let's also normalize being single doesn't mean that you don't want anybody or that you're not open. It means that you're in preparation. It means you're preparation without thinking about it, without stressing yourself out, so I'm going on my trips. I'm enjoying my friends. I'm enjoying journaling and taking time for myself. So when my husband or my king or whatever he is to you comes, he's going to approach a whole woman who knows who she is and who experienced life to be able to pour back into that relationship.
Absolutely.
Did I say that right?
Perfection. Yes, you did. Last thing I wanted to talk about, and I talked about this a little earlier, but there's a comedic relief kind of at the end of your visual project. It's called Just For Now. For those that want to go check it out, just go to her link tree and click through. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
I have you tagged at the bottom at Dinero.Nia. So again, check her out. She's amazing. You're amazing, Nia. So what made you want to add that little comic relief in there?
Because that's real too. I have conversations where I'm having like a disagreement, argument, but you're just like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
At them, or you're even laughing at yourself like, what am I doing? Like, what is this?
Yeah.
You know, and I think everyone needed to see that too. And I think with any storyline, you just need a little bit of a woosah, like, okay. And that was natural. She literally just threw on the camera and we were just having a conversation.
Good. It was really, really good. So what's next for you? What do you have coming up next?
So the biggest thing now, honestly, is just staying consistent. Staying consistent, making sure that the next move is just as good as the last move. The biggest thing now for me is just packaging. Everything that I'm doing and being able to get it into the right spaces and get it to the right people. A lot of times, like, you can do so many different things and it can just all be scattered all over the place. But the biggest thing is just being able to, like, package your stuff, especially if you're trying to go to certain, you know, tap into certain spaces.
Yeah.
And then honestly, I'm going into this year with like a why not me mindset. So, you know, I plan on getting some headshots. You know, I plan on just really just.
I love pictures.
Yeah, like I just plan on tapping into, you know, everything that I can.
Yeah.
And, you know, and just really making sure that this year is a memorable one, which is, it's already starting off really good, really strong. So I'm excited. Really excited.
I love that for you. So for everyone on this live that's just now tapping in and you're like, dang, Nori, you jumping in there and you're interviewing Nia Dinero and I want to interview. Let me put this out there.
Yes.
So I met you at an open mic, right? It was
yes.
at Kebab. My homegirl, shout out to Patrice. She put together, a lot of people call her Patty. She put together an open mic with Fresh Air. And you were such a wonderful talent. You were in there holding your own, doing your thing. You performed Birthday that night. I want to say you performed 2 songs.
I did. And Goat.
Yes. Yes. And so it was a wonderful performance. And I had a chance to connect with you, follow you on social media. Very proud of you. Even in that short time span, so much growth with your music. But you came with a whole team. You was ready. It was the videographer. It was the professionalism. It was the camaraderie. You were supportive of other artists that were there. Keep doing what you're doing. Like, you're absolutely on the right path. I'm actually going to play a snippet of that on my social media tomorrow, of me introducing you and you performing the first part of your song, because I want people to be able to come back and see this video and say, okay, this is the connection and this how it goes. And it's about relationships.
Yes.
And you kept in touch. You established a good rapport with me, and here we are. And so I appreciate you for your consistency, because you do put in the work and you do follow up. And a lot of artists drop the ball with that.
You know, I will say, can I say something off of that? Actually 2 things off of that. That's one thing Patty noticed about me when she came up to me. She was like, I know we had I followed up with her after the event, and she was like, you know, I just loved how after your performance, you went up to everyone and you were talking to them and And, you know, I will honestly say, you know, a lot of those little big things, I say little big things because they may seem like they're huge. I learned a lot of that in the very beginning of my career. When I was in a group, you know, he used to say, we're not leaving until, you know, pretty much unless you have something to do. But when you perform, you don't just leave. You know, you have to show support, because you just never know. You know what I mean? You never know. And then as far as like following up, I remember last year I had an opportunity, or I met somebody and then I followed up with them. And long story short, they complimented me on that. They were like, you have no idea how important it is to follow up, and a lot of people don't do that. And that opportunity led to me having an opportunity to work on a movie for BET.
Yes, that's awesome.
You said those little things make such a big difference, and a lot of people think you have to like have the plug and to get certain things done. But no, you just gotta honestly just tap into the things that just your humility, man. Just tap into it.
Yeah, and a closed mouth don't get fed. Like,
exactly. Let them know.
Yeah, like I'm one of those people. Either I'm gonna tell you yes or I'm gonna tell you no. Either way, it's all love.
Right.
Doesn't mean I don't love you any less, but it's a yes or a no for me. no is a complete sentence and yes is a complete sentence. Yes. And you know, again, seeing you move and how you're operating via social media, I don't know you personally, but I think you are just such a raw and amazing talent, and I'm excited to see what happens and what happens with your career next, because you got something special. This visual album, Just For Now, is amazing. It is top tier. But your production and music has always been really good. Like, from the time you got that mic, I was like, okay, somebody know what they doing. So yeah, so
and that takes, honestly, that intentionality from the very beginning. You have to, even when it comes down to your music, I'm very specific on the studios I choose, the producers, the music, the sound, like all of that. So that really means a lot that you
keep
because
going.
I work hard on that.
No, keep working, keep going. Whatever I can do to continue to support you, I'm absolutely gonna do it. Just keep me in the loop, and we're gonna continue to build. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Sounds good.
Hey, let me know.
Well, Nia, anything you want to say to close out? Your social media, website, YouTube, any of that information? Go ahead.
Yes. Once again, thank you all for locking in. I go by Nia Dinero. The website is niadinero.com, NIADINERO. As Nori said, just go to my Linktree and everything is there. But if you want to just get direct information, just go to my website, Nia Dinero, NIADINERO. YouTube is NIADINERO. And I just thank y'all. Thank y'all for joining this journey. It's just the beginning, and I appreciate you all.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Nia. You have a great rest of your evening, and I appreciate you jumping on this live with me. Thank you so much.
You love. All right.
All right. Have a good one.
You too, love.